unique setup where point A provides a high ground and an overview of the map.
All right, we are on board with the blue team here. The blue team is, do we know?
The blue team are the defenders, so they're the ones who are trying to hold their sanctuary and oppress the attacking team.
And so for our purposes here, that's Team Knight in the blue, and they've come out early capturing C. But here we see the front. The battle's happening there.
Yep, so you mentioned the front. Key to the front is a type of hero that you choose to go into battle with. Oh, there you see it. So certain heroes have a preference due to their range and their weapon to be in the front. You know, it's like fighting a lot of little soldiers. One-on-one, they won't do much, but a group of 10 one-year-olds can really do some damage after a while.
All right, it looks like this Raider knows a thing or two.
So here we have a 2-on-1, but those of you may have noticed that there's environmental hazards that you can use to your advantage to try to help yourself in an outnumbered situation.
Just ran by one of my favorites there, the spike wall.
So there's an example of the Raider stun. What that does is it takes almost all of the HUD or the UI off of your opponent's screen, making it harder for them to read which direction you're going to be attacking from. Here you can see another example of the environment being a threat. In this specific zone, the trapdoor is open throughout the battle, making it more and more dangerous to be in this zone. But at the same time, we want you to be there for points.
We had quite a fight there, and now the Raiders just popped the revenge.
So there we see the importance of the execution. That enemy can no longer be revived and has to wait out the respawn time, putting his team at a disadvantage.
Team Knight with a staunch defense of point C, but Team Samurai with the point lead currently.
Yeah, so right now, all three capture zones are in play. As you can see, there's only about 100 points difference. One of the keys to being a hero is that all-out offense often isn't the best way to proceed. Sometimes defense can be your best key to a productive offense.
Ooh, there's that spike wall.
Yeah, so somebody was taken into the spikes by a heavy attack. You really have to be aware of your surroundings.
That was a nice kill by defender number 4.
So here we can see one of the defenders, a Raider, going to capture point A. Point A only has 2 paths to which it can be approached. Both of the bridges, and it also gives you the high ground to assess the front and the status of Zone C, giving updates and feedback to your teammate throughout the match. So as you can see, Team Samurai still have about 150 point buffer, but that can easily change when 1 or 2 capture zones come into play.
And there we see it happen right now. The capture zone switches, and now Team Knight has a slight point advantage, holding down 2 points.
Yeah, so we have 2 capture zones fully controlled with point C in flux. So communication on both sides should be to support friendlies at C, but there it goes back to the attacker.
There we see Fairlight Excalibur, Man versus Game, Ammunition, and Cobalt Streak on Team Samurai, currently trailing. And we've got a hot pursuit in action.
Yeah, that happens often, and that's a key to melee-based combat. It's all about range, reading spaces in the environment, and taking advantage of your character, not just their weapons, but their movement abilities. Dodging, evading, blocking, and attacking.
Nice kill there by Team Samurai and Munition.
So here is a spectator cam. This player can move around the map and give feedback to their team while they're waiting to respawn.
Ooh, Gassy Mexican with a nice throw there.
If Gassy Mexican was smart, he'd get closer to the fire and try to use the environment to his advantage. Fire, spikes, drops, anything in the game world that looks dangerous, to the most part it is. So another thing that I wanted to point out, you'll see in the bottom left hand of the screen right now with this raider in particular, we've got a skull with soldiers in front of it. This is a feat, and you gain feats by increasing your renown, by doing certain play styles and certain elements during a match. So right now this raider gets double the reward for killing soldiers. That puts the emphasis on going to the front and taking advantage of the feat and the character loadout.
We saw one of those feats in the Dominion breakdown video we watched earlier, and now a lopsided fight does not go Team Samurai's way, and a brutal decapitation by Team Knight.
So we had almost all 4 of the defenders in the lane, in the front, clearing it out, and now they've got pretty much all 3 points. So they're 170 points away from putting the attackers in a break. So as you can see with the Raiders, Unbridled Rage, he's got no concern about defense. He's on the all-out offense, swinging that axe and taking fools down.
And the blue team very close to pushing over that 1,000 point barrier and pushing the orange team into breaking.
So here we can see that the attackers have left A uncontested, meaning it's an easy capture for the defenders, and then they can move. Oh, spoke a little too soon. So here we see a 2-on-1 fight. This is where space and environment gets key. A lot of our community feedback was, hey, it's really hard for us to work in an outnumbered environment, and as you can see there, it is easy to be killed, but we've been working really hard to implement features to support outnumbered fights. We'll talk about those in the preceding matches.
There are some ways to tip the scales, but then there are also sometimes you end up with a sword in your shoulder blade.
So here we have Zone A being boosted. Not only do they have 100 points from it, they take over an extra 2 points a second to stay with their team and help them meet the 1,000-point threshold to push the enemies into breaking.
That was Tangent Gaming holding down that elevated point over there. Now we'll switch back over and see a nice kill there by Team Knight and Co-Carnage.
So here you see the feedback on screen. That cross meant if there wasn't a threat to the attacker, they could stop and revive a friendly, bring them right back into battle, and skip the respawn time.
Could have used another buddy right about then, but he's making his escape.
They're never there when you need them, eh? So you can see here, everything revolves around the art of battle. That is the stance in which your hero is in. It depicts where you block and where you attack, but here we have our first round of breaking.
And Team Samurai pushing back to capture that point.
The attackers need to be smart here. If they lose capture zone C, all of the attackers will respawn. However, none of them are dead, so it's not a risk at this time.
We just caught a glimpse there of this big battering ram that's on the field starting to swing. Really just adding to the whole ambiance of this battle.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. It's based around the siege, and the siege isn't just killing the enemy forces or opposing forces. It's about breaching their sanctuary, their place of safety.
Got a fierce 2-on-2 here.
Yeah, so this is where collaboration is key. You go 2-on-1 and get attacked from behind. So here we have double breaking. Both teams are above the 1,000-point threshold. And now we can see it's a 4-on-2. If the defenders can hold all their zones and finish out the last 2 attackers, this match will be theirs to win. So now it's an all-out manhunt.
Well, is that the last remaining member of Team Samurai running around there?
Oh, he's gonna go.
Going for the revive!
So this is where communication is key. All 4 of them chasing the target isn't a good idea. You got to think about the setup and the space and find a way to cut them off and really get them in the corner. There you go. Here comes some strategy. Obviously, we're going for the revive here. You can see some panic faces behind us, some shouting.
Looks like that's Lil Renene frantically trying to stay alive. She's got the entirety of the enemy team after her.
And there you have it.